Yeah, I never had the camera on before, but don't worry, it's audio only.
It's
the headset.
What's up, gentlemen?
Working well. Yeah, it is a nice. It was a warmer day for once.
Yeah, it was nice.
After
I loved it.
Really cold ones. But we're not here to talk about the weather. We're here to talk about Deadzone the Podcast.
Correct.
I'm Bryan.
Correct. And I'm Scott.
I am not Scott or Bryan.
No.
But I'm Chris.
Welcome to the Deadzone Podcast. Deadzone is the sci-fi tabletop.
But yeah, how are things going, everybody?
Not bad at all. I really am getting ready for winter to be done. Ready to get out and play more games.
For sure. I was trying to prime things to paint in my basement, which I don't recommend because there's no ventilation and it's wicked cold down there. But yeah, still managed to get some things together, but eager to get some more gaming in.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And honestly, yeah, priming outside also will be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been we had that cold snap, so yeah, being able to go outside and prime or spray seal models has been tricky.
Yeah, but I'm sure folks are waiting with bated breath. Yes, little girl joined us on the 28th of January, so right as
Congrats.
The episode came out at a nice early 2:16 in the morning.
Nice.
So,
well, congrats, sir.
Right, bright and early.
Another gamer enters the world.
Indeed. We got a nice big fluffy 20-sided dice. I'm working her up to being able to just roll that around. But my wife tells me I gotta wait a little bit until we give her actual dice.
Yeah, you might have
choking hazards, Yeah.
Well, you can get ones that that aren't big plushy ones, but big softball sized ones.
But yeah, so that is definitely been taking up a good chunk of my time, as you can imagine. One thing I do want to shout out, kind of right at the top of the order, is I believe today, when this episode airs at the end of February, it'll probably be your last day to sign up for pre-registration for Adepticon. Get out there and pre-reg. I always recommend people doing so. It's incredibly helpful for those running the events to know how many people they need to plan for, as well as saving yourself a seat. The last I had heard, I believe they'd even started waiting lists for a number of the events. Specifically, I think almost all of the kind of mini games for Halo have been full, and actually might have been for a while. So,
but not the main thing.
The main one, I'm going to see if I can pull it up real quick, as my computer was wont to hiccup. And is it happening again? Event info, event schedule. I'll cut out some of this in editing down. So we need Deadzone. We need firefights. And for fun, we'll also do the Halo. And then Kings of War and Armada are also, I'm sure, very, very full. I will say some of these, some of the capacity on these isn't probably quite reflective of how many seats were intended. The Halo Flashpoint stockpile event, I think there's a couple of these. It says there's 55 spots remaining. And I don't think they were actually planning for that many, because I saw that what was submitted. I think that's a typo on Adepticon's part.
Really?
They put in the wrong amount of people.
How many people do you think they got?
Yeah. I think they had it set for like 60 spots. So the fact that there's 55 left, there's a handful of people have joined into that one. Definitely going to be a fun time. That one is like extra items are on the field and everything.
Nice.
There are 7 spots left on the Firefight U.S. Nationals. Halo Flashpoint Draft event is full. So that rounds out the Wednesday or Thursday. What is the 27th? Thursday. All right. So the Halo Flashpoint U.S. Nationals has 17 spots left.
That's a decent amount of people.
Mm-hmm. I think they started with possibly 30 on that one. The draft events full. Master Chief Challenge full. There's another draft event that has 4 spots left. Deadzone U.S. Nationals is full. That's awesome.
Nice. That's hype.
That is
very
great to see. Another Master Chief is full. Another draft challenge is full. Single weapons challenge. Another one that says it's got 55 spots left. I don't think it was intended to be that many. But that's around 5 or 6 people, I believe. Draft events is full. I'm just kind of going right down the list here. So I'm into March 29th by now. Another Master Chief Challenge is full. Draft event full. Master Chief is full. The Duos tournament, there's 6 spots remaining there. And then another draft event is full. And then the Halo Flashpoint team tournament, there are 5 spots remaining there. So it is filling up. I love seeing that the Deadzone tournament is full.
Yeah, that's hype.
Firefight 1 with 7 spots left. That's also really excellent. So great doing the pre-regs. If you haven't signed up for one of these events and you want to, and there's spots remaining, definitely go do so. And hopefully you get a chance to hop on. And folks will see you there. I don't think any of us will be able to make it this year.
I really tried making something work.
Yeah. I'm excited though for the event. We kind of have fresh blood all around for the TOs and running the events, which I think is something that as the person that was running a number of these for a couple of years straight, I appreciate kind of the influx of new ideas and new ways to run the events. We did make the push to have them run in accordance with the companion app. So people will be able to submit their lists and everything via that, nice. As well as run the tournament through it. So more just kind of getting these, U.S. Nationals event kind of up to date with what's kind of the current standard that Mantic is having for these events. We might still run a few of our own the way we used to, with some of the extra tournament points and stuff sprinkled in there for kind of side objectives. Yeah, I think it's a good move for these official tournaments.
Very awesome. Very, very cool.
All right. And so another fun thing that has happened that these guys can see that I'll be making a post about shortly is I finally got a design out for an official Deadzone the Podcast canvas style hat.
Nice.
And this is actually something that I'd been trying to have happen for a while now. I think we have one that's kind of in a trucker style with our normal logo. But the difference with the canvas one is they actually like it's like embroidered on. It's not just a decal or printed on. So I had to work with some Photoshop to refine the design a little bit. It's a little simpler than our main logo. It unfortunately lacks the word podcast because I couldn't fit it into the space without shrinking the logo itself down to a scale that I didn't like that much. But it is, for the most part, our logo, and it says Deadzone on it. So that's halfway there.
Yeah. Plus, it's still pretty cool. I mean, like, it's got that enforcer, right? So, like, you know, like, it's like, you know, people can say, "What's that hat?" And you can talk about
What's
the
that
game
hat?
and the
It's like,
podcast now.
what's
you know?
Deadzone about? And it's like, well,
Yeah.
we're part of the Deadzone the Podcast,
100%.
and we're fans of the show. So yeah, I got finally got that in. So I'll be leaving a note in the show notes for anyone who's interested in getting their own. We have a little store up on Zazzle. Proceeds really just go to kind of paying for our Podbean, so it's nothing really there. There's we're not in it to be making any kind of income on the store there. It's more for a way for folks that are fans of the show to kind of help us do some social marketing, as well as just kind of show their appreciation and get some more people interested in it. So
Plus, you get a cool hat.
Plus, you get a cool hat, and there's also playing cards on the site. You can get a measuring tape. I've got a Bluetooth speaker set up on there. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I threw our logo on. So if you haven't checked out our store and that sounds like something up your alley, pop on over there and take a look. See, maybe you'll find something you enjoy. We've got t-shirts, hoodies, all sorts of gear, and for the Deadzone Podcast faithful. All right,
very legit. I'll need a hat for our next game.
Yeah. Well, we need to get everyone a hat. If I was finally able to retire one of my other hats that people have most commonly seen me in, the tan Taekwondo one that I would always wear. It had shown its age for sure because I'd had it for a number of years and worn it many times. So it's nice to have a new hat, especially one that's darker. So if I do sweat, you won't be able to tell very much. Yeah. Other kind of newsworthy things, kind of going down my list. We did have an update on the Epic Warpath set since we last recorded. So at the beginning of February, they did update a little bit of their timeline. Is that they're now looking at May 2025 for the delivery of the product. So unfortunately, it means they're going to miss the Adepticon window that we were. I think we were all kind of hoping that they were going to hit, but all that said, May is right around the corner from there, so we're still going to be seeing it pretty soon. As well as if you haven't seen the update there yet, they do have a whole bunch of new renders of like a Forge Father drop fortress and the GCPS Maul battleship. Some of these other super heavy things. There's a bunch of nameless minis that they're showcasing now. Little tiny Pharaohmites. I hate those things. They're so nasty to fight. And little swarms of just nameless swarms, I guess. They didn't differentiate them from the Deadzone ones. But yeah, so a lot of great progress that they're showing. The pictures they're posting of the actual like painted up minis are pretty sweet. And so if you don't have to have backed the game in order to see these updates, you just have to go onto the Kickstarter page and you can check it out there. And yeah, there's some great stuff.
Yeah, I'm particularly excited for that game. It's going to be very, very good.
Mm-hmm. And then
that's
things.
One that I know I think all of us backed that one, and it's it feels like it's been a very long time coming now. I was a little sad to hear about the delay, but I definitely appreciate why they delayed, with increasing just the quality of the models and everything, and trying to squeeze every bit of resolution, changing. Yeah, they said like they're changing like the print size to like 0.02. So like that's a pretty tight print. That's really good. So
yeah, I'm always cool with a game being delayed versus a game being rushed. I feel like no matter what, a game being delayed is better news than it being pushed out too early.
Yeah, it would be pretty rough if they rush things and knock on wood, this isn't the case, but like that the minis, they like the 3D files, they release those and they're all full of holes and aren't able to print. I know the folks that use the vault pretty regularly are always willing to let people know if the models aren't printing the way that is intended. And but yeah, so hopefully that delay translates into some higher quality product coming out the door. And I mean, like, if you think about it, like how much the scope of the project expanded with all the extra factions that were added in. Obviously, at this point, Mantic is pretty well versed in how they run their Kickstarter campaigns, so that they've planned out those kind of upgrades. But still, it's really cool to see it come together here, and so we just have to wait a little bit longer. But not
only a month. I got other stuff to paint in the meantime, so we're hanging out.
And so in the meantime, one thing that you will hopefully be able to pick up at Adepticon is, and if you haven't listened to the 0.5 episode that came out just a week ago, or I guess a week ago from this recording. Math is hard. What day is it?
It's Friday. I thought it was Thursday all day.
It will be a week ago from when this episode airs. Yes, I did the math correctly the first time. That Scott and I were able to interview Christopher Verspeak, who is one of the main authors on establishing a lot of the Warpath universe lore, and we got to talk to him about the upcoming re-release and upgrade for the first novel in the Warpath universe called First Strike, and is going to be the Alpha Strike edition. If you haven't listened to that episode yet, I highly recommend doing so, not just because I'm on the episode and Scott's on the episode, but another Christopher is on the episode.
He was a really cool guy.
Yeah, he was
Man, internet issues. Well, Xfinity, man.
About
Bryan, we're losing you.
I don't know what's happening with my computer. All right, I'm gonna try something where I'm just gonna.
It's the Night Stalkers, man.
Now I'm just a gray face. Yeah. So
now you're an enigma.
Now I'm an enigma wrapped in a mystery.
We were talking about how cool Chris was.
Yeah, we were talking not only this Chris, but the other Chris that we got to talk to last time in our 0.5 episode, Christopher Verspeak, and got to ask him all sorts of questions about his work in the Warpath universe setting. Lots of great stuff coming up on the re-release of that novel. Again, kind of in brief, a part of it is the main story of it is not going to be changing, but it was kind of an extra round of polish that they were able to do on the novel then, kind of being like one of his first novels. So it's always kind of nice to have the opportunity to go back and clean it up and make sure it's really sings. And along with, there's an additional short story that was worked into that as like a little prologue. So that's a fun addition. And then we got to just chatting about all sorts of other stuff, like his work on the source book and ideas he has for the Marauders and stuff that he has in the works for kind of a major event happening at the core of the GCPS. And I won't lie, the Star Saga stuff that he talked about, where of some ideas that didn't make it to print for like a Forge Father themed adventure. Just sounds so awesome.
Yeah,
and it makes me sad at the same time that we won't get to see that one likely for a while. But just know that it was in the works, and that creativity is still very much there. So go check out that episode. It was a great interview, and we had a lot of fun doing it. So
yeah, I really enjoyed like learning about like his process. Like this is how I approached it. This is what I think about it. And then I'm glad that we got to throw some fun questions at him, and it was cool, man. I really liked it.
Mm-hmm. All right, and I think one other kind of newsworthy thing I wanted to mention, in addition to that, was kind of at the tail end of January, was that Mantic was celebrating their 15th year as a company, which is quite the milestone when you think about it. They've really grown into an exceptional little studio. Still just a handful of guys running the show, but they continue to put out some truly excellent games. In fact, on the board game side, just slightly off tangent, their Worms board game. Yeah, let me see if I can just pull up the company's Facebook page. Very professional today, and that also just happened. Like that news just happened. Yeah, so on Tabletop, the best board game winner for 2024 was Worms, the board game.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, on Tabletop's pretty prestigious too. That's not the same thing I was thinking, but that's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
We need to play it. I have yet to play it.
Yeah, same here. I've heard really good things. I
have it. We just got to find time to get together and play it. We should do a we should try to plan a day around that, and then do a Deadzone the Podcast review of it.
Yeah, there we go. I like that idea.
Most definitely. I mean, I'm a fan of the video game. I've played a lot of Worms in my life.
I know a lot of folks were kind of in that skeptical kind of space originally when they heard about Worms being made into a board game, but just kind of the nature of the game itself. But Mantic really likes to step up to those kind of challenges, and so it's really cool to see that hard work and that effort be rewarded and see a lot of success around it. Some other things that are really cool that are coming out is they have a whole bunch of new terrain crates, neoprene gaming mats. Now these, I think they've talked about for a little while ago. They kind of announced that they were working on it, but they are now available, and they are some nice looking mats. They're 60 by 44 inches, and they've got a kind of grasslands one, a kind of sci-fi grim battlefield one, a big old fiery lava one, a nice cool snow field. They do have then those same styles in the 6 foot by 4 foot. So I think that was something they had mentioned in the past, is that they were kind of catering to other games as well with the sizes that they were going to offer. And then they do have them as like little objective templates in these little discs that you can throw down.
I like that.
And then they also have a couple new Deadzone centric ones, not just the updates for Halo Flashpoint, which are also now available as neoprene mats, with the Field Outpost and the Firebase ones in particular. But they do now have Deadzone Sector 3, which is kind of a dirt outposty one, and a Sector 4. So 2 more 2 foot mats that are all gridded up for Deadzone. And so that is really cool to see more of more product line on that front, because the mats themselves are really great. But it is that thing where kind of have the same ones for so long. So it's great to see Mantic branching out a bit more and providing some additional look and feels for people's battlefields.
Yeah, it's just like quick, easy ways to just upgrade your games. Yeah, go for it. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
I love neoprene mats. I own way too many, and
I had to get rid of some. I had a problem too at some point. Yeah.
The problem is I don't have enough storage for all my neoprene mats. I need more storage. Not less.
You need like a big drum to store them to stay up.
I think but yeah, I was really happy to see them, and I understand the catering to it says it right on the website. They're 40K gaming mats, the 60 by 44, and I think Age of Sigmar has moved to that size as well, and then the more traditional 6x4 mats, and then those objective markers are specifically made for 40K as well. And that's it's really fun to see Mantic making accessories for other games, because that's a place where that other game company's kind of dropped the ball and not made these yet. So
yeah,
true that, and a great revenue stream to kind of help supplement things and let us work on the stuff we truly are passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and my thing too. I mean, Mantic started out just making Warhammer Fantasy Battles armies, right? I mean, that's not how it started.
The original Kings of War line and Kickstarter was really to kind of make their own game, and then as the tides turned in across the gaming landscape, they were able to capitalize on people leaving the game.
Yeah.
Their competitors.
Capture them.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I was gonna say when Warhammer Fantasy died, when they ended it, I mean they killed the world. Spoiler alert, but it's been years. They literally blew up the world and then hinted that something new was going to come. I was a huge Warhammer Fantasy fan. I followed all the End Times stuff. I bought all the End Times books. I read them the minute they came out, and I was devastated that they just literally destroyed the world. I was reading it couldn't believe what I was reading. I was waiting for some kind of fix to happen, something to come in and reverse what was going on, some last minute save, and nope, they just killed the world. And
they literally blew it up.
Yeah, there was it all got sucked into the warp. Archaon opened a giant warp gate on both the North and South poles, and it just tore the world apart basically.
For fun.
And yeah, I mean that's what chaos does, right? And so, like a lot of other gamers, I was looking for something else to play. And I mean, Mantic was there to scoop up a lot of people who suddenly didn't have a home. And I remember some of the people that were freaking out about fantasy going away. There's a video that went viral of a guy burning his Dark Elf army back.
I remember watching that. He melted it. Yeah.
Yeah. Just put it all on a sheet of wood and poured accelerant on it and lit it up. And anyway, I ended up falling into Ninth Age at the time, because it was basically a continuation of 8th edition fantasy, just fan made. And I never gave Kings of War a real look. I had a friend who kind of checked it out and didn't really care for it, and so I just kind of took him at that opinion without really doing the research myself. And that would have been, I think that was 2nd edition of Kings at that point.
Okay.
But yeah, it's the current edition of Kings is fantastic. I know it's been talked about. The new edition is coming up here soon. I'm pretty excited to see what they do with it. I know, I've heard the talk that Alessio's been back really working on it, and yeah, I'm really interested to see what it's like to play Kings of War with D8s and command dice. So, quoting Ronnie there from the Clash in the UK.
Now, another thing that's been going out lately is they did another run of their crazy boxes. Did either of you guys pick up one of the crazy boxes?
No, I
No.
remember seeing the ads for them though. I thought they were really neat.
Yeah, I've had a couple of friends pick them up in the past. I have far too much Mantic stuff lying around already that I don't just need another box of random things. But it is always kind of neat. You know, it is always a surprise of what's inside, and it's a collection of things. Some of it going way back. I think they're still throwing out some Mars Attacks minis that they have lying around.
I like those.
It's pretty neat. And for those that are unfamiliar, the crazy boxes are basically they put together a collection of odds and ends, whether that be terrain pieces, individual minis, little baggies of things, a couple of sprues, stuff like that. They have some delineation between like a sci-fi one, a fantasy one. I think there might be a specifically like a terrain one. They did recently do more of like a board game one, which is kind of an interesting take on it. And but apparently they found a lot of success with the advent calendars.
They're pushing those, man. Yeah, people like those.
Mm-hmm.
They do.
And so there's it's just kind of a big old mystery box that you can get from Mantic, and it can be really random, but they've been doing it for a number of years now. It kind of helps, I think, move some stuff that maybe they're not able to sell as a standalone product anymore. But it's always kind of neat to see what kind of surprises inside.
Yeah, I'm curious when you say board game, like they had full board games in there.
So let me see if I can pull up the news article about that. Crazy Boxes return. A mystery board game plus at least one or more boxed tabletop products and or cool tabletop extras. So they had the Crazy Box, the Crazy Board Game Box, and the Crazy Deluxe Board Game Box.
Oh.
Which was the deluxe one was a mystery board game with an expansion or even a collector's edition inside. And so this also includes like the Dungeon Saga series, a lot of the Hellboy stuff that's come out. Other things were like the Umbrella Academy, League of Infamy, Overdrive was another one that they were really moving with that. And I gotta say it's kind of interesting for that game in particular. I don't think either of you guys have had a chance to check that out. But basically it was kind of a spin-off of the Dreadball game that was more centric on these giants that were in it, which kind of sit on these like tri-hexes. It's just basically like these minis existed in Dreadball, and you could take them as these giant creatures. And the whole concept was Overdrive was this kind of halftime show where the big guys just kind of slug it out in different game modes. And it won't lie, it wasn't as well received by the community as one might have hoped. I think it kind of struggled to find that right audience, where a lot of the Dreadball fans at the time were just wanting more Dreadball, and those that were, it was more of kind of a board game. All that to say, Overdrive itself is actually an incredibly fun series of games, and like a lot of different game modes that can be played. Core box comes with, I think, 6 or 8 of the giants, and you can do like a draft to select which ones you get. So each time you kind of have to play against your opponent. It's a really fun kind of casual board game in the Warpath universe setting. So if you got room on your shelf and are interested, I think it's a really fun time, and it's great to see some people getting their hands on it as part of these crazy boxes, trying it out and finding that they actually really enjoy the game. So
Yeah, I mean, it's something about not knowing what you're gonna get is fun to buy, like not knowing what you're buying, you know. But I like that they tiered it up so that you can kind of brace your expectations a little bit. Plus, like, you know, if you're already a Mantic fan, well, yeah, why not try it out? You know.
All right. And so with that, I think we're going to head on over to the hobby table. And so the hobby table section of the show is brought to you by Corvus Games Terrain. We have a special discount code at the online store, DZ Podcast 15, and that gets you 15% off your order at checkout. It's Corvus Games Terrain designs a great number of 3D buildings, predominantly for all cubed up for Deadzone. Great for a firefight table. There's so many sets now, including the Tycho spaceport. And now I'm gonna blank on the second one that came out, and then the Dervold, the space dwarf mining one, and as well as the kind of rock and themed setup. So for more kind of natural boards than just your typical Deadzone with all sorts of with the prefab buildings. Needless to say, excellent range of 3D models, and we definitely appreciate both the designs and the support for the show. Additionally, this section of the show is also brought to you by Acid House Terrain, making the cardboard foldable terrain pieces that really bring those board games to life. We use them in Firefight. Some of them work well for Deadzone. There's a great cyberpunk range, other sci-fi genres. They even have some fantasy ranges out there. So definitely check them out. It's a great way to have a whole lot of terrain in a very lightweight container that you're able to bring around, and really livens up a board.
Nice.
And so with that, I've been talking a lot, so I'm going to throw it over to...
So with that, real quick, I ran into some guys at the local game store the other day who had some Corvus terrain.
Oh, yeah?
And since we're sponsorship there, like I ran into some guys who had some Corvus. They had some stuff printed up for Marvel Crisis Protocol.
Oh, nice.
And he hadn't painted the pieces all the way yet, so we ended up chatting some painting as we do, and had a good time. But it was really funny because like I noticed that like it actually said Corvus on one of the pieces, like as part of the sign for the business it represented. And I thought it was kind of cool, but I was just like, oh, like I recognize this stuff. Like I have a bunch of Corvus terrain in that I'm working on for MCP right now too. So
nice.
But
that's awesome.
It's always nice to see it in the wild. You know, it's always nice to go out and be like, hey, there's somebody over there that has some of this too. And so that was just kind of a fun chance encounter at the LGS.
Oh, for sure. So, Chris, actually, would you like to do your hobby table first, or would you like to continue the tradition going last?
I could go first. I've been quiet today, and I'm sorry. I've been a little lower energy today. I had to run up and go see Rick today, and that's a hour-and-a-half drive one way.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, it'll be done by the time this podcast airs. But you know, Mantic is gearing up for Gamma right now, and Gamma is not like your typical convention that like anybody would just go to, and it's specifically aimed at retailers and distributors to show off product. And
more
so
sales oriented.
It's a trade show. Yeah, it's a trade show as compared to a convention. And I was unable to go, unfortunately, just my own personal circumstances, but I had some supplies to get to Rick so that he could have them to go set things up and have that to go. But I am like just dragging as a result of having to drive. And we got stuck behind, like at an accident and stuff too. So sitting in traffic for like an extra half an hour. But the painting desk, I paint stuff. That's what I'm told. Let me. I'm gonna actually bring up because I'm struggling to figure out what I painted in February. So as of the date of this recording, I've painted 56 models this month. I'm working on a bunch of terrain. I'm working on some Battletech stuff as I do. I finished 2 models for Deadzone. I finished a Night Stalker Reaper and a Butcher. I've done some Marauders for Firefight as well. And then I'm working on Night Stalkers as my Kings of War project currently. I'm planning on doing I want to do a 2,300 point Night Stalker army that I should finish this year, no problem. I have like 2 monsters and 2 units left to do. And then after I do that, I have just a few models left, but they're all really big models for my Forces of the Abyss army to finish. And that'll be everything I own for my Forces of the Abyss will be painted then, and just get that off the desk for good until they put out something new for it. But I have been painting for the first time in months, really, a lot of Marvel Crisis Protocol stuff. So that's been kind of I finished 5 heroes this month and then a bunch of terrain.
Nice.
So that's been kind of my focus because I need my fellow Deadzone guys to come play some Deadzone with me. So I have an excuse to break out those Night Stalkers. They're getting there. I have like half the army. I have over half the army painted. I think I have 6 of the models painted of my 10 for my squad. So
I love it.
My Rebs definitely need their revenge on.
Yes, yes, they do. They got hosed for a combination of die rolls and scenario. So
yeah,
we gotta try that again.
Yeah, I was really liking our stretch of Saturdays there. The next 2 weekends, I'm going to be out of town next weekend. I got buddies from out of town here this weekend. So right. I think coming back in March, let's just go back full swing, just meet up Saturdays. Let's play a game of Deadzone. I feel like I got my Kings of War itch. I played 8 games.
I have not played a single one still. I was
this
trying
year?
to organize it. Yeah, I don't think I've played a single Kings game this year.
Well, I got nights off too, man. We can work something out.
Yeah, we'll have to get some games in. Scott, you've been painting up quite a bit too.
Yeah. I made an initiative with our club to meet up on Discord Thursdays. Although, again, I had to miss yesterday. But to just work and talk and chat it up and man, I'm getting stuff done. I feel like I'm I'm a hobbyist again. So yeah, I painted up since our last, not with Chris Verspeaks, but since the last episode, I painted up a Spectra, got it all based. It looks really good. I don't know if you've seen it, Bryan. I think it's one of my better pieces. I've rebased my entire undead army for Kings. Started working finally on the Forces of Nature, but that's a slow. I like taking it slow. I don't like stress myself out about it, But I and then also, kind of side note, I released my game online and kind of tweaked that and got feedback from a couple of different clubs throughout the Midwest and kind of on the East Coast. And it's been fun. I feel like I've gotten a lot of hobby in.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'd be more than happy to share. I know it's a bit more fantasy centric, but I'd be happy to share a link to your game and our show notes for those.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
If you want to, feel free to give it a little pitch if you'd like.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. All right. On Deadzone the Podcast. So yeah, Warrior Poet Games is my little fun project. I started about a year ago and just kind of started chipping my idea to paper. The game is Battlecry. It's a miniature agnostic fantasy battle game, a mass fantasy battle game that has a slower and lower model count. It's really like Warhammer Fantasy Battles, except a lot easier and a lot more accessible. That's the best way to put it. And I got lore all in there. It's all 10 factions. It's worth $10. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
for sure.
$1 a faction.
Yeah, $1 a faction. Yeah, there we go. And then soon to have a Kobold faction, which will be really good for Ratkin and Skaven players. That's going to be the Kobold faction in the game.
Kobold.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah. But that's it. Yeah, and I can get you all that info from there. But again, it's just a side project. It's fun.
No, it's really cool. And yeah, so on my side of things, I've kind of the two things that I've been able to get done is I was able to prime up my the Yindage Dreadball team that I had gotten my hands on thanks to Rick. And again, the goal behind that was my wife and I do like to play Dreadball, also big American football fans. And so want to paint them up to be the Detroit Lions, because the Yindage are kind of these lion monkey people. And that's the team that she first started playing with and really enjoys having them as her team. So I've got to paint them up in the Honolulu blue and get them on the table. So first stage of that was I did try to just kind of brush, and I think I just didn't use a good enough brush to do the soapy water treatment with them being kind of a bit more of like a board game centric plastic. I know there's often that release agent that lingers on them, and unfortunately, yeah, I tried brushing it, I think, with just a cheap paintbrush that wasn't very firm. I know a lot of times people use toothbrushes. I just didn't have a throwaway one handy. And then I primed them up in gray. With my plan is I want to dry brush white onto that then, and kind of go from there in a weird pseudo slap chop style. I'm still experimenting with how I'm doing painting these days. I do a lot of zenithal priming. Then I also try to do the slap chop style. I think the thing I found with zenithal, at least with how I've been doing it with rattle cans, is sometimes with it being like two layers, like if I do like a black layer and then a white, with it being like the spray paint, it's a thicker coat, and I sometimes lose the fidelity of the model in the layer of paint there. So that's why I'm probably trying to move towards something more like the style where it's just kind of one flat dark primer, and then doing layers of dry brush to lighten areas, and then do the paint over the top of it.
So you know what I recommend for that? Makeup brush.
I did get myself a set of makeup brushes really, really cheaply. There's one of those like Amazon box stores that's literally across from my house. And I found really weird things there. Like I found this whole like 3D model kit for like a 3D printer that's like had like a scraper and a whole bunch of tools and stuff for it. And I'm like, that's $5. Yeah. And then I found this little makeup brush set that's worked a lot better. I've had so much better success with dry brushing with these paint brushes than I have in the past. So I'm feeling more confident about using a technique that uses that. And so
you got to come to one of our paint days, man, on Discord.
Yeah. I'm definitely planning to fit that in. It just so happened that the last couple landed in weeks where we're still figuring out how to handle a baby.
Yep. You'll get used to it, man. Trust me.
But my goal is to get. I have like a little mobile paint station that's basically a fold out table and a Corvus Game Strain Paint Pal set that I have printed up, which is a little travel case for it, and trying to bring that up so I can kind of paint while I'm hanging around with my wife and the baby, and so hopefully doing that. The trick, of course, is making it so I'm not like cluttering the space with this whole extra table and whatnot, but I'll make it work. I think I'll be able to manage that. It's just tough to go. Otherwise, my paint station is like way down in our basement, which this time of year gets wicked cold, and and is not very baby centric or friendly right now. So
Michigan basements, man. Michigan basements.
Yeah, it's a little chilly down there, which surprisingly, I was able to get my 3D printer back up and running again. It had been down for, I think, 2 or 3 months again. But there was this funny moment where I flipped it on, and they obviously have kind of internal thermometers of like what the hot end has and what the bed has. And it was reading like I think 10 degrees Celsius one day when I flipped it on. It was that chilly in our basement. So
it happens, man. It happens.
That's cold. That's really cold.
Pretty cool. But I was able to get it working again, and so I need to look at all the 3D files that I've collected and figure out what I want to be printing right now. I think I was halfway through the Corvus games. Sorry, Steve. I can't pronounce it, and I'm gonna give up trying. But
Space Dwarves, man, just Space Dwarves.
Space Dwarves. My Forge Father terrain.
I was looking at their site, and they have some Asgardian stuff on there, and I'm like, I just picked up one of Marvel's Asgardian sets, and I'm like, oh, that would go really good. I could make a whole Asgardian board.
Oh, that'd be sweet. And you can use our DZ Podcast 15 at the checkout.
Yes, yes.
To get a little discount on that. But yeah, otherwise that's kind of what I've got going on my hobby table right now. So it's just kind of getting into that time of year where it gets tricky to paint more, in addition to having the newborn and figuring out where I have spare time to do other things in between a 3-hour rotation of feedings.
Yep.
And nap times and diaper changes. So yeah, if other folks are kind of working through those winter blues with working on any kind of hobby time and getting minis painted or the like, feel free to share and post over on our social media, leave some comments, and let us know how things are going. We love to see what the community's up to.
Just like that. Boom.
Yep.
Yeah. And so with that, I think that's probably a little bit of a wrap.
Sure.
I do apologize if I was rambling a little bit. I'm a little scattered with things, but I think we made it to the end here.
Hey man, there's some stuff in there, Yeah.
It's a lot that's going on, and it's leading up to a big U.S. convention time of year. So there's a lot going on. Really excited to see what people have painted up for Adepticon. That reminds me, one other thing, because I forget if we had talked about it last time, if the preview had been out yet, but the February Vault edition, I do want to shout that out, because if you hadn't had a chance to see it yet, it's actually really cool. Because they have a whole bunch of GCPS alternate arms, heads, gear, like a whole slew of unique things that we don't have for GCPS models yet, kind of separately, as a whole mess of additional heads that include a couple that don't have helmets, ones with little eye catches, masks, berets, caps, bandanas, all sorts of like really cool things. I'm gonna have to get on some of my resin printing friends to get my hands on some of this stuff. There's also a whole mess of arms with pointing, power fists, clubs, swords, knives, little armbands, some cool new backpacks that I haven't seen before, and just some other really cool poses, including like slung, like shoulder slung rifles and stuff. So if you haven't checked out February's listing for the vault, definitely get on that. And of course, I'm saying that as I'm sure this episode will be coming out like just a couple days before they post the preview for March. As it were, we're just happened to record it ahead of that announcement, as we sometimes do. But wanted to give a shout out to the Vault for once again really providing an excellent service to people that have the 3D printing capabilities, and really gives you a chance to make some really cool GCPS minis.
Oh yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
All right, so that I think can be officially the wrap. And before I tangent myself any further, I think I'm just going to say thank you all for listening. Please follow us on all the social media platforms. We are now on Blue Sky, though I'm still coordinating and actually posting things on that account and getting it linked up. But you can find us all over the place, and feel free to follow us if you find us and you like our stuff.
I'm following you right now.
And so with that, I've been Bryan.
And I am Scott.
And I'm Chris.
As we're all following Deadzone Podcast on Blue Sky now.
Yep.
It's a team effort. And but yeah, so have a good night, everybody.
Boom.
We did it.
That's it. Cool, man.
Admittedly, my bullet point list was a little thinner than it usually is, so that's why I was kind of bouncing around trying to get more news bits.
Guys, I have so many reps of Firefight in, and I love the game. I'm probably, out of all of Mantic's products, I've probably played Firefight the most. And only because my buddy Aaron lives down the road, so we just been playing.
Yeah.
And I think it's a fantastic game. I mean, it's like it totally replaces 40K. Like if you need that, like I think it's a complete replacement. To be honest, like you don't need to chase the dragon with that game. You can just buy Firefight and it's totally the same scale. And I don't know. I'm like I love the game. I think it's the strongest product.
Mm-hmm. No, I love Firefight too. No, I don't play enough of it, and I think now that I have Enforcers painted up for that, I've got some more flexibility. I think I was always struggling because I went with the GCPS as my main Firefight army, and it meant I had to paint a lot of minis in order to hit the point levels that people want to play at. So.
What do people recommend for that game?
A lot of people like 1500.
Okay. Yeah, I've been doing a little more than that actually. But
the tournament scene, I think, is landing in that 12. We've been putting it at like 1250. It's kind of been a nice sweet spot where you get to bring, it's good for the 6x4 tables at that point. But you don't have so many things that it just takes so much time to play. It works good for tournaments in that respect.
I want to make another Firefight army. I don't know I have Enforcers. Enforcers are cool. I think I'll do that, but I don't have enough to play. I have 850 points worth of Enforcers, but I really like the idea of actually getting some vehicles painted up, even for my Asterians. I just I don't know, painting a vehicle stresses me out, but vehicles are really good in Firefight. So I'm I gotta get my vehicles going. I have 3 Asterian tanks that I need to build. But yeah, I would love to play. I mean, I say we put something on the calendar sooner rather than later.
Yeah, definitely. Now that football season's kind of wrapped up, I think I'll have more flexibility with weekends, but at the same time, I have a baby now, so I don't know if that'll always translate well.